and we'll be starting right away while others join us. Stop worrying and start living. We've been on this for a while now, and it's been an interesting adventure for me. And having seen the big challenge we have in our society nowadays, where people are so bogged down with worry and anxiety, from action to worry, from worry to anxiety, from anxiety, and action create fear. The fear lead to worry, worry, anxiety, anxiety, depression, depression, hopelessness, and consequently, suicide. Having seen the impact of this in our society, that even teenagers are committing suicide, it becomes very, very important for us to take this kind of conversation extremely seriously. As a matter of fact, for young people who are just leaving school, thinking of relationship, marriage, this is a big deal. Job issue, big deal. And for one reason or the other, we have not been able to find a way to manage our reality. And it's making life of many very, very difficult. And having had those kind of conversations with different people, we thought it necessary that we need to have this series where we discuss extensively the issue of worry and anxiety, and that some of the things we really worry ourselves about in life are not necessary. And they are not as important as the way we count them. You know, when you are stressed, when you have issues, when you are worried, when there is fear, when there is anxiety, more often than not, it's because you want to have control over situations and circumstances in life. And let me shock you, you will not always have control. In fact, you will not have control. What you need to do is to manage the situation. The level of stress in our life is directly proportional to the gap between our expectation and reality in life. Our expectation and reality in life. So tonight we are continuing our discussion of stop worrying and start living. And we are discussing on rumination as a cause of depression. You know, we discussed the other time some of the factors that cause depression and how to manage it. But today we are looking at rumination. Ruminating on things. You know the way ruminant animals chew the cud. You know, ruminant animal will eat. After they finish eating, they will now chew the cud. The chewing of the cud is rumination. And that's a big challenge for some people because they think too much about the situation. Our mind are given to us and it makes us, that's one of the things that make us human. We have two major factors, two major capabilities as humans that make us different from animals. You know, someone said, and the research shows actually that the difference between the DNA of man and chimpanzee is very, very small. Very, very small. Very, very small. But you know what? You know what? The gap between us is so wide when it comes to intelligence. When it comes to intelligence, the gap between us is so wide when it comes to intelligence. But that same intelligence is the biggest challenge of mankind. Because through the intelligence, we have memory and we have imagination. Memory, thinking of the past; imagination, envisioning the future. So sometimes you envision what will happen in future, create fear and anxiety. When you also think of the past, create worry and issues. So let me start today by going through our usual scriptures. And the reason why these scriptures are so important for me is that it brings to light exactly the issue we are trying to address. It says, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. The weapon of our warfare are not carnal. They are mighty through God to the pulling down of stronghold." Then he said, "Casting down imagination." Rumination, thinking. Casting down imagination. And every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. In that word, you will see, number one, imagination. Imagination. Then thought. Thought. Casting down imagination. And every high thing that exalts itself against what Christ has said, or the scripture has said concerning you. And he said, bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. When people read that scripture, they think of the enemy. They think of one devil somewhere, and they want to pray for the devil to die. But you know what? The devil just laughs at us because he knows what he's gunning for. The real issue is not being addressed. He's chasing shadow, thinking there's a strong goal somewhere, when the strong goal is in your mind. The limiting belief system. Believing in the power of the devil more than the power of God. All these are in our mind. Casting down imagination. Bring that thought under control. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are praiseworthy, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things have good report, that should be your thinking. So that means instead of ruminating on the problem, why can't you ruminate on things that are true, lovely, of good report? No wonder another scripture says, be mindful of the way you think, because your thoughts control your life. Be mindful of the way you think, because your thoughts control your life. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issue of life. Ladies and gentlemen, our awareness is like a flashlight. But where do we shine it upon? Whatever you shine it upon, come alive. Your awareness. If you shine it upon that bad incident, it will come alive and create more fear. Your awareness. If you shine it upon those negative circumstances, it will come alive and create the trepidation and create the depression. We tend to shine our flashlight on the things that are not okay about our lives. It's so amazing how an individual will look at his entire life and just focus only on the negative. Only on the negative. Only on the negative. And this is extremely important. Only on the negative. Why? Why do we focus on the negative? We have not trained our mind. to be deliberate on all the good things of life. We concentrate on the negative things. It's devil's strategy. And you must be conscious of it and make conscious effort to work against those negative things. Because there are many more beautiful things in your life that you have a reason to thank God for. But for one reason or the other, we focus on the negative. Our awareness is a flashlight. We worry about not having job, worry about not married, worry about kids, worry about promotion, worry about sales target, worry about business, worry about so many issues. We forget other areas of our life that good things are happening to us. The fact that you have food to eat. Some people don't have dinner tonight. They probably have not even eaten since morning. You have food to eat. It's a reason to be grateful. Let your heart be full of gratitude rather than worry about what you don't have. The fact that you have a bed to sleep. The fact that you have water to drink. Do you know there are places where they don't have water? The fact that you have a bed to sleep, a shelter to cover your head, is a reason to be grateful. It's a reason to be grateful. It's a reason to be grateful. We forget all other areas of our life where things that are good are happening. But you know that these things you are taking for granted is a big problem in some part of the world. Even though you take it for granted. Why? It's normal now. To you, it's normal. It's not normal for everyone. It's not normal for everyone. It's not normal for everyone. In as much as it's important to set goals in life. Now, look at this. It's extremely important you understand the reason for setting goals. Because one of the challenges we have is being unable to achieve that goal that the society set for you. You don't see yourself as being incredibly privileged, even though you have this much, because you're only looking at what you don't have instead of focusing on what you have or what is right in your life. So you set a goal for yourself. And the goals sometimes become our trap. Goal is good to give direction, but that it just end there. In as much as it's important to set goal, what is important about the goal is not achieving it, but rather what you become in the process of trying to achieve it is more important. What you become in the process of trying to achieve your goal is more important than achieving the goal. It's more important than achieving the goal. So if the goal, achieving the goal is the ultimate, then you neglect all that you have become in achieving the goal. And you become worried that by 30, I want to have done this. By 40, I want to have done this. By 50, I want to have done this. But you know you don't have control. You will not always have control. And because you will not always have control, you cannot afford to crucify yourself for being able to achieve that goal you have set. But when you look at where you were when you set that goal and where you are now, you have moved ahead, you have grown. That growth is more important. The process is more important than the profit. If we can get this as human, we will enjoy the blessing of the process we are going through, rather than being unhappy because we are not able to achieve the profit we hope to achieve, forgetting that the process is a blessing. The learning and the growth should be the objective of setting the goal. If you achieve the goal, that is a bonus, and you should be grateful. But if you don't achieve the goal, but you are no more where you used to be, that is good enough. If only we think like this, maybe there will be less worry and anxiety in our lives. Spend time to invest in the process and not in the profit of the outcome. This is why sorry for the break in translation. This is why a profound statement was made, summarizing this ideology. The purpose of washing the dish is not to get it clean, but rather the purpose of washing the dish is to wash the dish. The purpose of washing the dish is to wash the dish. It's not to get it clean. So if you're able to wash the dish, that's good enough. What you experience while you are washing the dish is actually more important than getting the dish clean. You know, when you achieve a goal, the ecstasy of achieving the goal cannot last more than maybe a day or 2 days or a week. But the process can take you months and even years. If you enjoy the process, you'll be better off. Because when you achieve that goal, I give you max 1 month. The excitement is over, max 1 month. But what you go through to achieve it remain with you. What you learned, the mistake you made, the way you overcome the challenges, the skill you acquire, the competence you develop is more important than the ultimate goal. The ultimate thing you do as a human being in life is working on yourself every time. When you go to school, you are working on yourself to grow, to learn. On the job, you are working on yourself to be more skillful. In business, you are working on yourself to be a good business person, to satisfy customer. In getting married, you are working on yourself to be able to live together in harmony. In having kids, you are working on yourself to be a good parent. You are always basically working on yourself to get better in almost everything you do. Almost everything you do, working on yourself to get better. So everything you do in life is a process of working on yourself to be better. Always remember that one of the big challenges we have in this life that creates stress in our life is the gap between the goal we have set and our reality. And because we see the goal as a do or die affair that must be achieved, it makes us compare ourselves with ourselves and with others. And the Bible says them comparing themselves with themselves are not wise. You can't be comparing yourself. No. All of us came into this world. We have different goal and purpose. That's why the fingers are not equal. You can't afford to be comparing yourself with others. Remember, the goal of washing the dish is not for it to be clean, it's to wash the dish. That's why it's strange when people go to school and they cheat. You know why students cheat on campus? Because they think they are in school for certificate. No, you are not in school for certificate. The reason why you are learning is to learn. It's not for certificate. People cheat because they think they are in school for certificate. People cheat because they think they are in school for certificate. You are not in school for certificate. You are in school to learn. And the goal of schooling is learning. It's not certificate. The only thing you do to yourself in life is to grow, is to become better. All these things you do are tools given to you by God in order to be able to work on yourself, in order to learn and to grow in life and achieve while you're here. Do not lose sight of this important lesson for your life in anything you do. Also avoid the insistent expectation that the universe must do what you want at all costs. You know why you must not have that expectation? You don't have control, ladies and gentlemen. You will not always have control. You never have control. And because you don't have control, if you set on that goal, you're going to widen the gap between expectation and reality. That is what creates stress for us in life. The gap between expectation and reality. That is what creates stress for us in life. Depression has become a big problem in our world today, and many people who are depressed are not even aware and therefore not seeking for help. A lot of teenagers are battling with depression. And this is what is making them to be involved in drugs. Depression is a topic that is not widely discussed. And so many people do not even know that they are depressed because they cannot identify the symptoms. We have discussed in the past the way to identify the symptoms of mild and severe depression. So for those that will be listening to this in the future, you might do well to check the previous episode. This episode 9, episode 8 rather. We have done 1 to 7 already. And I think that was done in episode 3 or 4. So today we are discussing how ruminating is leading to depression in many people's lives. Many teenagers who are secluded and moody and isolate themselves and will not play with their friends are actually experiencing depression. This type of rumination is the one of the early signs of depression and will eventually lead to depression if care is not taken. As a matter of fact, all of us run the risk of this rumination and bad situation that happen to us. Ruminating on bad situation that happen to us because all of us are vulnerable to negative situation in this life. All of us are vulnerable to it. And you know what? We might be exposed to bad situation in life. How do we take it? You don't have control on what life will throw at you. When life throws lemon at you, are you going to make lemonade out of it? Or you are going to worry, complain, and grumble? You don't have control of what life will throw at you. But you know what? You have control on how you respond. And whenever you face challenges, you are always either responding or reacting. You are either responding or reacting. Do you know the difference? When you respond, is positive. When you react, it's negative. You know, when a doctor gives a drug to a patient and the patient takes it and the doctor came back to see the patient, and upon arrival at the patient's side, and the doctor say, the patient is reacting. That's a sign that the patient is getting worse. Or the doctor say, good, the patient is responding. That's positive. Your disposition to the challenges of life is going to determine whether it's going to be a refining fire or a consuming fire. Your disposition to the challenges of life is going to determine whether it's going to be a refining fire or a consuming fire. Ruminating involves thinking deeply and widely about a particular thing in a quiet place when you are by yourself. Just as ruminant animals will often do after they have eaten a meal, they go to a corner, regurgitate, and begin to chew the cud, eating it again. So rumination happens when you replay in your mind a bad event, a bad situation, in such a manner that is creating bad feeling continuously. Someone have offended you. Someone have disappointed you. Someone have done something to you, to your spouse, to your child, to your parent, to your sibling, to you. I mean, whoever it is, whatever he has done. You come back and be telling someone, can you imagine? You narrate it again to the second person, to the third person. And each time, it creates that bad feeling within you. You know the interesting thing about this life? You don't have control about what people will do to you, but you have control about how you respond to it. And how you respond to it is a critical factor on about how you feel. Remember, be mindful of your thoughts, of how you think, because your thoughts control your life. Be mindful of how you think, your thoughts control your life. When you ruminate like this, it's a sign that depression is right at your door. And you're about to go into a major one. This makes you to go into self-pity and begin to have a wrong view and opinion about yourself. The opposite of this is what we call meditation. Meditation. When you ruminate on the problem, you worry. When you turn it the other way around and think on the positive side, you meditate. Particularly when you use scriptures as the tool for your thinking. And you have a choice to either ruminate on the problem, the negative, creating worry and anxiety, or ruminate on the good things of life, otherwise called meditation. Someone have just done something to you in the office. Your history tells you she's wicked. Anybody that do that, in my opinion, is a wicked person. So she's a wicked person, very wicked. That's your history telling you. Because you have judged that is wicked, you then begin to react. You have opportunity to help, you decline the help. You frustrate every effort for him to be happy. Why? Because you feel he's wicked. You also want to ensure he's not happy because you're not happy. Why? Because you have thought of it and your judgment is that for someone to do this, he must be a wicked person. Alas, you might be wrong. You might be wrong. You know, when you think about yourself with respect to what others think about you or what others are doing about you, look at this statement. Someone said, I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. So when I'm thinking about myself with respect to what someone is thinking about me, I am thinking what I think is thinking, which is not necessarily what the person is thinking. But I convince myself that that is what he's thinking. Because how could he have done that? How could he have done that? He could have done that if he's thinking about me like this. I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. And that's so important and profound. So, wrong rumination or negative situation create depression. When you concentrate on depressive thought like this, you tend to think so lowly about yourself. What do you do to stop yourself or your loved ones from ruminating on things that will lead to depression? First of all, redirect your thought. Redirect your thought. Redirect your thought. Redirect your thought. If you are not living in the here and now, if you are not conscious, one of the biggest challenges of our world is people are not living consciously. People live subconsciously. And because people live subconsciously, they don't even know when the thought came in, and they were in that thought for such a long time. Redirect your thought, first of all. Redirect your thought. When you are ruminating, you remain captivated by that thought, and it's like you are under the power of that thought. It's like you are under the power of that thought. When a thought is conquering your mind, one thing you need to know is that there are things that can overpower that thought. Thought is at levels. Thought can be at different levels. There are higher levels of thought. So when you're on a level of thought, there's a higher level of thought that can superimpose on that thought. Word, speaking, hearing yourself can superimpose your current thought. Hearing a voice from something, from someone, can overshadow that thought. So you first of all need to learn to overcome that thought level by using a voice, either speaking to yourself the right words, who you have become in Christ, the scriptures, or listen to something else that interests you, but look for voice, words, yours or someone else, that you can use to overcome that thought. This speaking help you to begin to get power over that thought. And if that continues long enough, then it will overpower the thought. If that continues long enough, that voice It will overpower the thought. One of the things I do, I record scriptures regarding different areas of life and issues. About 7 scriptures, 15 minutes. And I play them and hear them myself and speak them to myself. You must be deliberate about some of these things, and technology can help you a lot. As a matter of fact, I recommend that you get yourself out of the string of that thought by collating relevant scriptures about that situation and then voicing it in a personalized manner, recording it on your phone and playing it repeatedly to yourself. So for example, there is a challenge and you're thinking, is imagining this is what will likely happen in this situation. Do you believe in God? Do you have God on your side? Why don't you collate scriptures that can help you overcome? And remind yourself, his thought towards you is thought of peace, not of evil, to give you an expected end. Remind yourself, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Remind yourself, he has given you the key of the kingdom. Whatsoever you bind or loose shall be happen to you. Remind yourself that all things work together for good to them that love God and call according to his purpose. Remind yourself that his grace is sufficient for you. For his strength is made perfect in your weakness. Remind yourself of those scriptures that bring life to you. Remind yourself, remind yourself, remind yourself. Record it, play it to yourself, and hear it from time to time until the thought is erased from your mind. I can assure you, by the time you do it once or twice, that thought is gone. But you must be in the here and now. You must be present at all times. You must be living consciously. Many people live subconsciously, and that's animalistic in nature. You must be living consciously. Consciousness is one thing our generation have lost. Consciousness is one thing our generation have lost. We live so subconsciously, and it's robbing us of peace in our lives. You can also record the good things that have happened to you in the past, in your career, in your family, in your calling, and record it and listen to them to erase those evil thoughts that make you to feel you are useless, you are nobody. Nothing good can come out of you. But that's not true. That's not true. All this activity help you to replace that thought with another better thought. If you play it well enough and listen to it and think on it, you're going to replace that thought easily. One of the areas of rumination that create depression in young people is heartbreak from relationship. To heal yourself, you need to replace that thought of heartbreak with good thing about that person. Good thing about that person. Because, you know, if you only think negative of the person, it gets worse. Okay, the person I've done is worse, but is there anything good about that person that you can remember? Because you need to think that thought to help yourself, to heal yourself. Because if you only think about the negative thing he has done, including the heartbreak you just have, you know what? You're going to suffer for a very long time. For a very long time. Is there any good thing about that person? Remember those good moments together, those good times together, rather than the negative. Use your mind to imagine a better relationship with someone else in future, rather than ruminating on the past. Our past is a big challenge for us as humans. It haunts us like no man's business. Our memory is a big challenge. Our memory is necessary because what makes you human is your memory. What makes you remember where you work is your memory. What makes you remember you have a degree is your memory. What makes you remember that you are married, you have kids is your memory. What makes you remember your siblings is your memory. What makes you remember your loved one is your memory. So you can't throw away that memory. But the same memory is what makes you also remember those negative situations that you have had. Our intelligence is our biggest problem as humans. It's because we have not learned to manage it very well. To stop this rumination on bad and evil things that happen to you, you need to break the chain of thought by getting busy with things you love to do. Get busy, get busy, get busy in things you love to do. Get busy. Participate in new conversation that distract you from that rumination by having conversation that are of interest to you. That are of interest to you. Try to change your environment in order to meet different set of people where possible and have different kind of conversation. Make a conscious effort to be in the here and now so as to be able to take control of your thought. You must take control of your thought. You can overcome ruminating on bad thought by calling a friend and discussing something else. You know, there are some friends that if you call them now, you're going to have fantastic conversation. They are very jovial and lively. Those are the people you want to talk to. Rather than ruminating on the negative things. So important, ladies and gentlemen. So important. It will be great if that friend is a jovial, extroverted person that can easily get you excited. You need those kind of people around you. Get involved. Get busy. You might need to join an NGO to explore your potential in volunteer work. If you're in the fellowship, be active. Contribute to your own quota. What you cannot afford is to be idle. It's often said, an idle hand is devil's workshop. You know, when you are helping people in life through NGO work, volunteer work with NGO, when you help people through those NGO, those that are worse than you, it makes you to see a good reason for living. A good reason for living. Because you now see that, look, the situation I find myself is not so bad though, after all. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. This is so important. Because whatever situation you find yourself, sincerely, someone else is in a worse situation. Sometimes you might need to check some comedy skit online that can make you laugh and think less about the issue. Whatever it is that can take your mind out of that is so important for you to do. Get yourself busy. Stop ruminating Stop ruminating. Remember, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. The weapon of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty through God to the pulling down of stronghold, casting down imagination. Lord have mercy. I hope people will know that they need to cast down this imagination that is tormenting believers and human beings on the earth. Casting down imagination and everything that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any praise, if there be any virtue, think on these things. Remember, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issue of life. Guard your heart with all diligence. Be mindful of what you think, because your thought controls your life. All right, thank you very much for being able to make it tonight. Okay, I see I have 3 people around. Okay. Yes, John, thanks for joining. Long time. What did you learn tonight?
Sir.
Yes.
I learned quite a lot. And I followed up. What I actually learned was that I learned the importance of managing our reality, and also how to manage not having control.
Yes.
Instead of ruminating on the problem, we have to think of the things that are true. And also, our awareness is like a flashlight. It depends on what we shine it on. I have a question, actually.
Please, go ahead. Go ahead.
Why do the negatives, like why do the problems, the worries always overshadows the positive, that the good things in our lives?
Because we are not living consciously. You know, when negative happen, that is the current reality. You just focus on it. When nothing is happening, you are not focusing on anything. You are not looking at the good or the bad. But when the negative happens, you focus on the negative. But you need to now regain your consciousness to look at the fact that this is just 1% or 2% of my life. What happened to the 98% that is okay? Why is it that this one is now making me sad, unhappy, even though I have other things going on for me? Because it just happened. So it caught your attention. That is the awareness, because you are the one that turned your flashlight at it. Because, of course, it attracted your attention. So you turn your flashlight at it because it attracted your attention because of the pain of that situation. So it attracted your attention. Unfortunately, you are now not conscious to turn that attention to something else. That's where the conscious living comes in, to now deliberately turn that attention to something else. Any negative circumstances, with just the way maybe you just won a lottery now. Of course, you're turning attention on that also. But that's good. Or if something good does happen. But when it's negative, you turn your attention on it, you now dwell on it and forget about every other good thing. So it's the awareness, the flashlight of the awareness. And because of the pain of the moment. Yeah, go ahead.
I have another question again.
Yes.
Getting worried bad. Like,
you say what?
Is getting worried, is it a bad thing? Like,
if worry persists, it turns to anxiety. From anxiety to depression. From depression to hopelessness. And from hopelessness, it might lead to suicide. So avoiding worry is critical, not to get worse. Avoiding worry is critical, not to get worse. A situation happened now is bad enough. You know, let me tell you, you know what I discovered about humans? We are very quick to judge the situation that happened to us. We are very quick to judge. But sometimes in retrospect, that same situation, have you ever wondered, I don't know if anybody here, you have found yourself in a negative situation in the past. You already assume this is bad, this is negative, but some weeks, some months, some years down the line, you were happy that that negative thing happened. Anybody have that experience? Anybody have that experience?
Yes, I have.
So why are we quick to judge? Why are we quick to judge? We are quick to judge. Don't judge yet. Don't judge yet. Because all things really work together for good.
Okay. I also have another question.
Yes.
How do we manage not having control?
No, you don't have control. That's the reason. In fact, the reason why we have problems is because we try to control and we don't have control. We get frustrated. So the fact that you don't have control means that any circumstance that happen outside, don't let it affect you the way you feel. But because you don't have control over those circumstances, you will not have control. You are going out, you are very in a hurry, there's traffic. You don't have control. What do? Don't let negative circumstances get into you. You always have control about how you feel. You don't have control about what's happening outside, but you have control about how you feel about that situation. So the way to manage not having control is to ensure you control how you feel about it. You control how you feel. You ensure there is peace, there is joy, there is bliss inside at the expense of the external circumstances. You always have control about what happens inside. That is given. But you don't have control about how someone feels about you or how people make you feel or what they say or what they do or circumstances. But you have control about the way you respond or react to that situation.
Okay. Also, I also learned that we should understand the reason for setting goals in our lives.
Yes.
Understand the reason for setting goals. And also, we should grow and become better. We should not be too anxious. We should always. We should not be. We should. How do I put it now? We should look at how we are to get there, not
the process. Focus on the process, not the profit.
Yes, because too many times we are looking for immediate benefits.
Yes.
Which also affects the goal.
Yes.
On the long run.
Yes.
So assuming like now I do a course now and I fail first time, I fail second time. I'm looking I'm wasting money. But
yes, you get a point. You get a point. You know, sometimes ago, I did a guy attended our tutorial class for his trade finance exam. In the middle of the program, he was opportune to do a seminar on one of the topics we discussed to his colleague in the office. After he finished, he told himself, said, even if I fail this course, this one I know, I'm okay with it. Even if I fail the exam, look, this one where I don't do, I'm okay. That is the way to feel. That process is more important than the certificate.
Okay. Said you should grow and become better.
Yes.
You should avoid insistent expectations because you will not always have control over
circumstances.
And also our disposition to the realities of life is important.
Yes. So, that disposition will determine whether that situation is going to be a refining fire or consuming fire.
And when we respond to circumstances, it shows it is positive, but when we react to it, it shows it's negative.
Yes.
And also we should be mindful of how we think because our thoughts controls our life.
Yeah.
Because more two times we are not conscious because we are just thinking because things are happening and we are hearing, we are just taking, we are not even filtering what we are really hearing. We are just hearing a lot of things. The country is bad, we are hearing. The job is not good, we are hearing. We are not even filtering what we are really hearing.
Yes.
So, subconsciously, our mind is just assimilating it and it's affecting. You know, when we on our alone time, we are thinking of those things and unconsciously it's having a negative effect on us, but we are not even aware of the effect of those thoughts in those times. So we should also be mindful of how we think, because it's really important.
Mm.
And I also, you also said that I am what I think you think I am.
Yes.
That's important. And also you gave some important things on how to redirect, on how to manage our depression,
Yes.
because most times things happen and we get depressed, even whether we don't know it or not.
Yeah.
Depression will always come, but we should just try and manage it. For some time now, I think I've been depressed from the definition I've given so far. I think I've been depressed with work and everything generally. Like everything just, I don't know why, but everything just pisses me. Just not, I don't know why, but I think personally I've been depressed, but I think I've been able to manage it so far. I've been trying. So I also got some important things how to manage them by
Yes.
redirecting our thoughts and speaking
Yes.
to ourselves the right thoughts and listening to positive things. Looking for passages of scripture that speak to the current
Yes. And
of
remind
our,
yourself
of our
of it.
life.
Remind yourself of it.
Imagine better things about yourself. Where
Yeah.
you want to be. Just imagine, be thoughtful. Let the good things overcloud the negative things in your head.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Try and go out more, because more than often we are just secluded in one particular position. Even when we go to church, we don't even mingle. We're just there. We're not active, kind of say. We just go to church, we come back. You don't even say hello to anybody. You are just overcrowding your thoughts about everything, about life, and you're not even in the now.
Mm-hmm.
So always participate, go to fellowships, go to hangouts, go for seminars, just to have this change of environment and of ideas, meet new people. That will also play a good role, a good role in changing our thoughts, and we should also live in the here and now and not the
Yeah.
idea.
Thank you for joining tonight. Yes. Glory, are you there?
Yes, I'm there, but I'm on the road, but I can still.
All right, let me hear from Bidemi then. Hello, Bidemi, good evening. How is the UK today?
Hi, good evening. We're fine.
Yes.
Yeah, it was mind blowing this evening. Thank you so much. See, this issue of ruminating, I think it doesn't have anything to do with your age. It doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's just human. We have to make conscious efforts to fight it. I fight it a lot. I remember back home in Nigeria, it was even much easier because you have a lot of people to talk with, and you easily forget your problems.
Yeah.
But out here, the feeling is real. You get to think about, you remember a lot of things that you're not even supposed to remember. You keep pondering on them, and it weighs you down. But over time, I have learned some things. I learned that it's a habit, and we have to work on it. And there's a saying there was something written by Mark Twain. He said, a habit cannot be tossed out of the window. It must be coaxed down the stairs, a step at a time. So it's something that we have to.
I love that. It must be
coaxed
down the stairs.
Down the stairs. It doesn't go. In short, there's no amount of talking. You have to work on it. Like you said, we have to live we have to live consciously. It's a big challenge. The world is everywhere. It's not only in Nigeria. Everywhere you go, the worries are real. It's so strong. I even think back home in Nigeria, we were able to work on it more because we had lots of family around and all that.
Yeah.
Here, you're just there, you're on your own. You have to think how your life on your own.
Wow.
So you have children to bring up and show them that, okay, in life, people can be happy. You don't just go around being gloomy and, But like you said, I've also learned something here again, where I see how people manage these things, and it's by helping others. Ben Sweetland, it says, if gloom persists, he said, do something to make someone else happy.
Yes.
And your happiness will return.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know that, sorry to cut you, I was to speak to some volunteers in January, and I did a research. I was shocked. I knew that is true, but you know, when you now go and do the research and you now found out the fact that when you help others, you know, okay, fine, there's a lot of sowing and reaping, but you know, in the real sense of the word, you get better.
Yeah.
I mean, in the real
you get better, exactly. Especially for those who cannot pay you back.
I'm talking physiologically. I'm talking the way you feel. That in fact, the research was saying that if you are selfish enough to help others, maybe at the end of the day, the selfishness will make you to help others rather than help yourself.
Pay off, yeah, very well.
As in, and I was talking about the fact that the kind of hormone release, because by doing an act of kindness, you cause some chemical substance to be released that makes
your brain, yes.
And then it strengthens your immunity. Can you imagine? So at the end of the day, you're actually better off just helping others rather than just be by yourself, you know?
Exactly. So I've noticed that that's just even the way to cope. You have to volunteer. You can't just be, you have to volunteer. You have to go help people. There are people out there who need you. Don't you ever think you are better than a million people who want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
So when I have to learn, every time I have to learn, I don't ever look down on anything. I learn from everywhere, everybody, everything. So for me, this is mind-blowing. Thank you so much. I have learned a lot. I have learned some other things. I've added it onto my list again for the day. So that's how I get better. Yeah, I get better by the day. And you see, it makes me a better person because I've noticed that, you know, thinking, it's human. It's nothing abnormal, but we have to work on it. Ruminating is part of it.
Manage it well.
Exactly.
To create a positive feeling rather than the
good and get a positive outcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, it says helping others trigger impact in your brain in many positive ways. When you help others, our brain releases oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine. These are called happiness hormones, and they help to increase your immune system, particularly dopamine. Dopamine has been seen to increase production of white blood cells that boost immune response in the body. This hormone has some effect on boosting our mood and counter the effect of cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. This might urge someone to ask, is giving itself inherently selfish then? Perhaps, but that is not a bad thing. On a neurological level, studies suggest that giving social support to others may benefit the giver than the receiver. May benefit the giver than the receiver. In one study that compared giving versus receiving, participants were asked various scenarios in which they either gave or received support. In a series of functional magnetic resonance imaging tests on the brain, the study found out that giving ultimately had a greater benefit than receiving. In other words, from our evolutionary perspective, our brain is hardwired to feel rewarded more for magnanimity and selflessness than for being mean and being selfish. You know, it's so amazing. You know,
even the Bible said it is more blessed.
This is what makes me appreciate the scriptures. It's just validating the scripture, basically. Science and scriptures are just meeting. You know, it's just validating the scriptures. It is more blessed to give than to receive.
Than to receive, yeah.
It's more blessed to give than to receive. All right, Glory, can you speak now? Hello, Glory.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I'm still on the road, but I don't know if my background is noisy.
It's not too noisy.
All right, okay. Basically, I have learned a lot, but what I have held on to from all that has been said today is the power of positivity.
Yeah.
in the midst of depression and everything.
Yeah.
So thinking about the positive part of life, positive part of situation. If you have a broken relationship, what is the positive part of the person that just left you?
Yeah.
Positive part of everything. So basically, then positive part of what God has said about you, not what you feel or what situation around you dictates and everything. So if we learn to be positive, optimistic than pessimistic, it will help us a lot to be able to be at our best. And also having people that are very excited and that makes you get excited
Yes.
would also help us so much. So friendship is very important. Excited people around you is very, very important. And doing what excites you can stay away from depression and everything that brings us down. That's basically what I've got in a wrap.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Sir.
Thank you very much, everyone, for being able to make it tonight. See you next week by 7 p.m. on Saturday. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.